She asked, "Why are you playing the victim?" You were aware I was still sorting through my feelings. When I questioned why she was still intimate with her ex, I simply said, "Thanks for the insight," and walked away. She assumed I'd slink back, begging, until she returned to a hollow apartment with an envelope containing her own printed messages. There's a peculiar moment in a relationship that's spiraling downward. It's when you realize you're no longer a partner but a convenient fixture with a steady paycheck. My moment of clarity hit on a Tuesday. It arrived through a text not meant for my eyes, the most overused way to uncover deceit, but classics endure for a reason. My girlfriend, Leela, had a habit of leaving her laptop open on the kitchen island. I never snooped. I had my own digital woes, I didn't need hers. But while brewing coffee, a notification flashed on her screen. It was from someone named Ethan, with a profile photo of a guy who looked like he'd been pickled in organic matcha. The message read, "Last night was incredible. Can't get you out of my head. Does he suspect anything?" For most, this would spark shouting matches and slammed doors. But after 2 years with Leela, I knew her world wasn't exactly standard. It was a mystical realm ruled by horoscopes, energies, and the firm belief that her emotions trumped logic or reality itself. The warning signs had always been there, blazing like neon signs. Like when she refused a vacation because Venus was in a chaotic retrograde, claiming it would doom our flight with cosmic wrath. Or when she said her failure to cover her share of rent stemmed from a lack mindset she was addressing, which sounded suspiciously like being flat broke. I'd brushed it off as endearing quirks. I found it oddly charming. I'd met her ex, Ethan, a few times, a part-time DJ and full-time vibrational coach, who wore loose cotton and tossed around frequency like it was a personality trait. I was the steady one with a paycheck and a reasonable bedtime. I was the foundation. But it turned out she was just using my stability to anchor her more thrilling adventures. I skipped the drama. I finished my coffee, sat across from her at the table, and waited for her to complete her morning ritual, what I called her strategic pause before asking for something. When her eyes opened, glowing with a serenity that now felt insulting, I said, "So, are we in a polyamorous arrangement now?" Just checking because I missed the update and I should probably adjust my schedule. She blinked, her calm demeanor souring into bewilderment. It was the look of someone whose internet crashed mid-epiphany. "What are you going on about?" "Ethan," I said, sipping my coffee slowly, "seems thrilled with your recent performance and wonders if I, the clueless star of this soap opera, have caught on to the twist." Her face paled. It was almost mesmerizing. You could see her mind scrambling, flipping through a mental catalog of self-help jargon to dodge accountability. She settled on a defense after a brief pause. Taking a deep breath, as if I were the one causing a fuss, she spoke with the patience of a therapist calming a frantic client. "Listen," she started, "I know this is tough for you to grasp, but I've been navigating a lot. Ethan and I share a profound spiritual bond. There's history there, I'm just trying to discover my truth." I stared at her. It was a brilliant dodge. She wasn't cheating. She was on a sacred quest for self-discovery. I wasn't betrayed. I was just a stubborn bystander blocking her path to enlightenment. "You're sleeping with your ex," I said, my voice as flat as the desolate expanse of her ethics. "That's the reality here. The rest is just fancy words you picked up from a self-help app." Then came the line, a phrase worthy of a Hall of Fame for manipulation, right beside, "I'm sorry you feel that way." She tilted her head, looking at me with pity, as if I were a caveman too primitive to get it. "Why are you acting so victimized?" she said. "You knew I was still working through things." I didn't respond for a moment. I let her words linger, marveling at their sheer nerve. The anger was there, simmering quietly, but it was drowned out by a stronger, almost comical emotion, relief. It was the liberating relief of getting a clear, undeniable answer. The verdict was in. The evidence was conclusive. I was dating someone utterly unhinged. I stood up. "You know what? Thank you," I said. She looked puzzled, her script momentarily lost. "Thank you for what?" "For the transparency," I said. "It's a rare treat." Then I walked out. I didn't slam the door. I closed it softly, a quiet end she was too self-absorbed to notice. I heard her call my name, her tone irritated, not worried. I kept walking. I went to a cafe nearby where the Wi-Fi password was an absurd string of motivational buzzwords. It felt appropriate. Leela's texts started flooding and almost instantly. First, the furious ones, accusing me of being immature and dodging healthy communication. Then the concerned ones, urging us to create space for our emotions and process this together. It was like being scolded by a fortune cookie that had betrayed you. She genuinely thought I was just taking a breather. In her carefully curated reality, I was the dependable one, the safety net. I paid the rent on time. I restocked the toilet paper. I was the solid ground she danced on while chasing her lofty dreams with Mr. Cotton Pants. Guys like me didn't just leave. We pouted, we fumed, maybe even threw a punch at a wall for dramatic effect. Then we returned and accepted the new, awful terms of the relationship. Her entire plan hinged on my predictability. But as I sat there, sipping coffee that tasted like freedom, I realized she'd just handed me a golden opportunity. She thought she held all the power, but she'd accidentally revealed her weak hand. And it was a laughably bad one. My turning point wasn't a dramatic breakdown or a tearful resolve. It was a calm, calculated choice. I launched a new personal mission, Operation Disentangle. The objective was clear: remove myself from her life so cleanly that by the time she realized I was truly gone, it would be too late. The revenge wasn't in making a scene. It was in creating absence. It was about showing that the reliable, predictable guy could also be ruthlessly strategic. The key was her upcoming weekend mindfulness retreat in the hills. She was leaving Friday afternoon and wouldn't return until Sunday evening. She called it vital for recalibrating her energy. A perfect 48-hour window. She'd leave to find herself, and I'd ensure she returned to a half-empty home. But just leaving wasn't enough. That was only step one. Step two was the centerpiece, the envelope. I wanted to leave her a memento, something to commemorate her journey. I needed more than the single message I'd seen. I needed the full narrative. I had to access that laptop again, not as a jealous partner, but as a curator, preserving her saga for posterity. That evening, I returned to the apartment, my poker face firmly in place. Leela was all apologies and soothing tones. She'd cooked dinner, a kale salad that tasted like remorse. She wanted to discuss setting boundaries during her retreat to give her the space she needed. It took all my willpower not to burst out laughing. I played the part. I was contrite. I was confused. I agreed we'd talk more when she returned. I was the perfect, wounded boyfriend she expected. I was so convincing I almost felt guilty. Almost. That night after she was asleep, breathing softly, likely dreaming of yoga poses and deceit, I opened her laptop. No password. Why would there be? In her mind, my lack of curiosity was her ultimate shield. It took less than 5 minutes to find the messaging app. It was a jackpot, a treasure chest of betrayal. The chats with Ethan stretched back months. A vivid chronicle of infidelity, flirty banter, plans for meetups while I was at work, detailed recaps of their encounters. And then the critiques of me. Those were the best part. I was emotionally stifled. I was too tethered to the physical world. My passion was lacking, and my energy was a bit dull. My favorite was a message where she griped that I didn't value her cosmic depth, sent right before asking Ethan if he could score cheap festival drugs. Profound indeed. I took screenshots, dozens of them. I cataloged everything with the precision of an archivist. Every sweet exchange, every jab at me, every rendezvous plan. I saved them to a USB drive. It was the unedited history of her betrayal, my final report. On Friday, I helped her pack for the retreat. I carried her yoga mat to the car. I gave her a quick, empty peck on the cheek. "Enjoy your trip," I said, my voice thick with feigned warmth. "I hope you find what you're looking for." She smiled, patted my cheek condescendingly, and said, "I will. We'll talk when I'm back. I feel good about us." She drove off, leaving me in a haze of lavender-scented exhaust. As soon as her car vanished around the corner, Operation Disentangle began. I'd already booked a moving truck online, a massive 20-footer glorious overkill. My friends, Mark and Tom, arrived 10 minutes later. I'd filled them in over drinks the previous day. Their reactions had evolved from shock to fury to gleeful complicity that warmed my heart. They weren't just helping me move, they were my tactical support unit. "Let's liberate the captive," Mark said, grinning as he surveyed the apartment. "That's you, by the way." The rules were straightforward. My stuff leaves, her stuff stays, no destruction, no spite. This wasn't about chaos. It was about vanishing. We worked like a precision team. Untangling 2 years of shared life was tricky. The kitchen was a maze of joint utensils. "Whose is this spiralizer thing?" Tom asked, holding it up. "Hers," I said. "It's a misery machine." "Trust me." The bookshelf demanded careful sorting, my dull biographies separated from her manuals on chakra alignment and astral projection. The bathroom cabinet was a battlefield. I took my toothbrush, leaving hers as a solitary pink relic of her deceit. We cleared my side of the wardrobe, my drawers, my desk. It was cleansing. Each box I packed made me feel lighter. We took the flat-screen TV. I had the receipt. We took the coffee maker, a gift from my mom. We left her yoga mat, her meditation pillows, and a half-done painting she called The Hue of Harmony. By Saturday evening, it was done. Every trace of me, my clothes, my books, my gadgets, my dull energy was gone. My friends and I stood in the living room, now comically bare. The sofa looked forlorn. The walls were empty where my photos once hung. The apartment seemed defeated. Then came the final act, step 2. I went to a late-night print shop and, using the USB, printed every screenshot on glossy photo paper. Presentation mattered. I wanted the details sharp. I tucked about 30 pages into a plain manila envelope. On the front, in black marker, I wrote Leela's self-discovery quest, field notes. I drove back to the apartment one last time. I walked in and placed the envelope squarely on the coffee table. It was the only thing there, a bold period at the end of our story. We did a final check, then left, locking the door behind us. I drove the truck to my new apartment, a small, sterile place I'd rented that morning. It was bare and smelled odd, but it was mine. I ordered 3 large pizzas for me and my friends, and for the first time in ages, I felt truly at ease. I turned off my phone. Sunday was pure, blissful quiet. I unpacked the basics. I set up my coffee maker on the counter, a small ritual of reclaiming my space. I didn't think about her. The chaos hit Sunday night as expected. I turned my phone on at 10 p.m. to a deluge of notifications that nearly fried the device. 15 missed calls from Leela, 6 from mutual friends, and the texts, a glorious unraveling, a live study in emotional collapse. The first at 9:15 p.m. were puzzled. Hey, just got home. Odd question, but where's all your stuff? Did someone break in? Call me? A 10-minute pause followed. She must have opened the envelope. The 9:25 p.m. text was raw fury. How dare you do this? You're a deranged maniac. I hate you. Then at 9:28 p.m. the blame shifting. You violated my privacy. That's the real betrayal. You snooped. That's against the law. A gem, that one. The legal expertise of a cornered cheater is always impeccable. Then came the bargaining around 10:30 p.m. after my silence. You know, I was just lost. It was a mistake. I was always going to pick you. You were supposed to fight for us. You don't just abandon someone you love. Finally, after hours of my unyielding silence, came the pitiful desperation, starting around midnight. I'm so sorry. I screwed up so bad. The apartment feels so empty and creepy. Please call me. I miss you. I love you. I read them all, a faint, ironic smile on my face. It was exactly as I'd predicted. She wasn't sorry for her actions, just sorry she got caught and sorrier that her reliable fallback had packed up and left. She kept calling for 2 more days. I let it go to voicemail. The messages were a chaotic blend of tears, accusations, and pitiful pleas. On the 3rd day, I decided she'd had enough time to stew in her hollow apartment with her field notes. It was time for my final commentary. She sent one last text, "Please, I'll do anything." I crafted my response carefully, choosing words for maximum impact. Leela, I wrote, I'm pleased my exit has fast-tracked your self-discovery process. The evidence suggests my presence was the main obstacle to your research. You're welcome. Also, you might want to update your Netflix password. Please delete this number. I hit send. Then I blocked her number, her profiles, everything. I blocked Ethan, too, for my own peace. I leaned back on my stiff new couch in my quiet apartment. I made a cup of coffee with my machine. The silence wasn't hollow, it was pure. The mission was complete. My life was finally, gloriously clear.